Hey friends, how you doing? So I am working on a project for myself. I'm doing double content where I'm creating one video that I'm going to release on YouTube and on Instagram on IGTV. So right now I'm experimenting, taping from my camera and my iPad because my iPad is going to be square in IGTV and my camera is going to be um, landscape, I think, on YouTube. So I just want to talk about some of the things that I'm working on. I haven't been active on YouTube and I want to change that. I want to start creating more content. So if you tell me what kind of content you're interested in, I'll try to put it out there. I'm more informational. I'm more teaching. I probably won't be doing a lot of hauls, but I currently have a list of 20 videos that I want to put out. And I also have a series that I started called Resellers Truth. I wasn't feeling good last week, so I didn't put anything out, but I plan to every Thursday, if I can, release Reseller Truth. So now what I'm going to start doing is just adding my Reseller Truth to YouTube and Instagram. So that'll be Thursday, will be a double release because people probably don't watch me on both places. It's either YouTube or Instagram or, vice versa. So the other thing that I want to do is highlight some other resellers in the community. So if you know people who have YouTube videos, Instagram, it doesn't matter how big their closet is, if it's content that you enjoy, send me a message and I can do a shout out because we need to support each other during this time. So the other things I want to talk about, some of the things that I'm working on. If you've been following me on YouTube, Instagram, listening to my podcasts, then you know that I just released 25 things to do if you're stuck in the house. So I don't think I'm doing all 25, but let me tell you some of the things that I'm doing. I'm revamping my Poshmark closet. I've been working on that for a while. I whittled from 1,200 down to 450. That is awesome. My goal is to eventually get rid of clothes 100% and only focus on shoes and bags. I really do well. Say for instance, if I go to the bins or something and I find a wallet that I know I can sell, man, that wallet, I list it and the wallet's gone. And shoes really do well for me. And Thomas and I, my husband, Posture Dude X, we're going to be moving in the fall. It was going to be the summer, but we're holding back from the fall, especially all this stuff going on. We don't know what's going to happen in the next few months. So we're putting off our moving time and I don't want to have to take like all this stuff with me. So I'm going to focus on shoes for a while. And I do find things if I go to the outlet, the bins, to people who don't know what the outlet is, and the outlet to people who just know what the bins are, that I find some really great things also. And I'll find like some random, like the thing that I sell a lot of are bras and bathing suits. So I suggest you pick those up if you're out there. Okay, so I'm working on my Poshmark closet. I'm working on Etsy. I used to be a handmade seller, so now I'm working on Etsy from the vintage perspective. So I'm trying to play around and see what kind of things will sell for me in vintage. I don't want to get too many things, but I do want to be able to sell some unique vintage pieces. I already had a lot of vintage that I was selling like on eBay and Poshmark that weren't moving. So I said, let me move them on to Etsy. And within my first week, I was making sales. It's gotten kind of slow because Etsy's like any other platform where you have to list and be productive. And I was working on some other stuff. I stopped and wrote an ebook called The Reseller's Survival Guide, Practical Advice for Resellers. So you can get that. Click on the link to my bio or stop at resellerspassion.com. And it's just practical advice, how to start selling, where to look for items. I give you a lot of bolos. I give you a lot of apps to sell on, how to create a schedule, how to create a budget, how to file taxes if you're a business owner. If you want to go full time, what plan to put in place. So the book is really just practical advice. It's not advice from a person who is professional and has 40,000, fans on YouTube and everything. It's just from like a regular person writing for a regular person, just little tidbits of information that I wish someone had given me when I first started. And so that's what the Reseller's Survival Guide is all about. So check it out if you want to. So I'm doing that. My goal is to really work on these YouTube videos and figure out how to edit and things like that. I don't want to get crazy about it again. I just want it to be, I'm a natural person. Like I love the fact that I don't have to get in front of the camera and put makeup on. Like I just shaved my head today and I feel good about that. And I don't want to pretend and be someone different than I am. not saying that other people are, but I just want to be me. So I don't want my videos to be like a whole bunch of graphics and hey, I just want it to just be natural progression of who Leslie is. So if you're watching, that says a lot to me that you're okay with me not showing hauls and what I bought and what I make, because I very seldom talk about my money. I think that's a private issue between Thomas and I. You know, I may talk about like occasionally, like I talked about some bras that I picked up and I probably spent like 20 cents each for bras and I made like $36, but I don't get into like my monthly. I think that's private, but I think if people want to share that, that's fine. But I also believe with that, if you're sharing, share how you got it. Go from haul to, okay, now this is what I did. I steamed my item, I photographed, this is what I listed it for, this is how long it took to sell. I really get in deep about it and then come at the other end and say what you made. Don't say, okay, here's my haul and this is what I made. Really educate people in terms of what you made and how you got the sale, because there's a lot of people out there struggling and they want to hear from you. They look at you as leaders in the community. So when I talk about the stuff I talk about, I continue to talk about it based on the what people, the love that people send back to me, the messages that they send me, and the questions that they continue to ask me. So I'm about transparency to a degree. Money, I think, is between Thomas and I. Again, if that's what you want to share, fine. You'll see very little of that from me. I will say that reselling has not made me rich, but because of reselling, I'm able to do some other things. So my goal this year is to really try to focus on learning another language. For years, I've been wanting to like become fluent in Spanish. I know a little bit of Spanish. I know a lot of food related because I worked in many kitchens, and my counterparts were people who are originally from Mexico City, Pueblo, Mexico. And so I learned a lot. I would go in the kitchen and say, you know, speak Spanish, and I would create 3x5 cards for myself and study them. So I know a lot about desserts and the oven and the kitchen and things like that, because I wanted to talk as much as I could. And I learned a lot. So I want to be fluent. So that's one of the things I'm going to be working on. I'm going to be writing a couple more books. And I don't think I'm going to focus on ebooks. I'm going to write real books. And my goal is to not write anything else related to the reselling community. In terms of writing, I'm writing actual books that will be going to like editors and things like that. I know, it's super cool, isn't it? Building my podcast. I have 2 podcasts, a brand new brand called Am I Really Bald? You can find me, Am I Really Bald, on Instagram and at amireallybald.com, which is a website I created where I actually have like a little store. I'm going to be selling things on there, jewelry and stuff like that. But also you can see my podcast and you can also see my YouTube videos from there. So it's pretty cool. It's building up. I want to try to start some advocacy and just talk about like hair loss, but also talking about people. They send me letters to read on my podcast, real life letters about abortion and, you know, childhood rape and different things like that. So I want to kind of build that up a little bit more, something other than reselling. And I think we all have the opportunity to do that. If you have a platform already, start branching out and talking about some other things. If you speak Spanish, I talk about that all the time. Start a Spanish podcast. Talk some other things in terms of Spanish. Start teaching how to, you know, build your Instagram, how to build Pinterest, how to build social media, how to, you know, create YouTube videos. Let's see more of that in Spanish. So I'm all about like educating myself this year. Let me look at my list. So I am, again, organize my inventory. I am taping several YouTube videos and podcast episodes ahead of time so that I can stay on top, especially my second Am I Really Bald podcast. You can find me on Apple and Spotify and Anchor. So I'm trying to get that out a little bit more. I am working on a lot of stuff on my health. I'm in the house now, so I want to start doing some YouTube videos. I am reading constantly. I read like every single day. I'm about to start this book right here. Jill Shilvis, I think her name is, Almost Just Friends. I love reading. I read educational books, but I love things that are fun for me. I'm probably going to crochet just a little bit. I am thinking about doing some handmade jewelry to put on my new website, and you can also stop by resellerspassion.com. I have a lot of digital products. I have my ebook, I have a journal, I have recipes, all kinds of stuff on there. But so that's just a little bit of what I'm doing. And the last thing, I'm practicing self-care, but I'm also thankful in the times that we're going through. I am truly, truly thankful. I'm truly blessed. And yeah. So I really, really want to focus on Leslie this year. I want to focus on moving. I want to focus on writing. I think I'm writing a book about menopause. I want to write a couple children's books. I have a daughter who's on the autism spectrum. She has high functioning Asperger, and I want to write something about that. I have a daughter who has a condition called hydrocephalus. You can look it up, water to the brain, and she has a shunt. So I'm trying to write some books that are relatable to children. Maybe even a children's book, alopecia, that just came to me. A book about, sibling loss. My brother drowned when he was 8, a few weeks before my 7th birthday. So it's some things that I'm working on that I want to have some personal growth, but I also want business growth. My goal, originally, I'd been invited to speak at about 4 events this year. So far, my goal, I have my top 20 goals right above my TV over there, and I had speak on 5 stages, and I had already been slated to speak. One was canceled, and I haven't heard about the other ones because they're not until like later in the year. So we'll see. You never know. Really take the podcast on the road. I'm trying to go to, I originally was going to go to Seattle in May, but it's a lot going on there. So I'm not going to do that. Just so many things that I want to do, and the cool thing is I'm 50 and my daughter, she's graduating from high school. Hopefully that happens because they're canceling a lot of that, right? So I want to say to you that if you have something that you want to do, I talk about this all the time. I do. If you have something that you want to do, go ahead and do it. Don't be afraid to. Don't be afraid to start. The only way to step out of your comfort zone is to step. You must do the thing that you think you cannot do. That's not me. That's Eleanor Roosevelt, my favorite quote, and I live by that. Step out on faith and do some things, and that's what I'm doing. So I just wanted to jump on and talk about some of the things that are coming. I have some videos. These are some of the, I wrote this down, some of the videos that I'm going to be working on. I'm going to talk a little bit about my ebook and some of the information that's in there. I want to kind of teach a little bit about Pinterest. Pinterest has really been great for me. People don't know how to use it for their business effectively. Maybe a little bit about Instagram. Maybe do some vlogs, some day in the life stuff. Maybe exercise a little bit. Maybe teach a little bit of hula hoop. People have asked me to do that. Just talking like now and having a conversation with you, and people can comment. Talking about my allergies, talking about my hair loss. I do have another YouTube channel if you want to subscribe. It's called Am I Really Bald? But I really wouldn't mind talking about here. That's where I kind of got started, by talking about my hair loss on A Reseller's Passion on Instagram, and people were like asking me questions. And so I said, oh, this would be great to start something new. So my goal is to, again, advocate, but not just hair loss, but advocate people who are strange, who are different, and who are experiencing some challenges either in the past or in the present, and maybe foresee some things happening to them later and they can't open up on their own. Maybe they can send me a letter, and that's what I do on the other podcast and YouTube channel. I read and I tell stories about my life and things like that. If you want to learn more about me, then you can go. I talk about the death of my brother. I talk about some crazy decisions when I made when I was 16. I talk about a shopping addiction. I talk about being married and divorced, and I talk about my daughter who's on the spectrum. I talk about my daughter who has hydrocephalus. So it's a lot of different things that are going on in my life, that I'm sharing. So, yeah, just let me know if you have questions, if it's something that you want to know about me, if it's something you want me to talk about. Hey, this is it. I'm building up my YouTube. I'm building up my friendships. Just, if you like what I'm talking about, subscribe, hit that little bell, and yeah, comment, because I will answer every single comment. I want to engage. I would love to see a lot of women my age. Nothing against the younger people. I do want to see the younger people, but I want to talk to people my age, because what happens is when our children go off, we forget that we exist. And I am 50, about to be 51 in July. Here it is, this March, and I'm going to keep on going. I'm not going to let the virus distract me. Life happens. There's so many things that have happened in my 50 years. Some things when I was too young to understand. Things in my teenage years, things in my 20s, things in my 30s. 2000, we were all supposed to be gone. So I feel for the families that are going through, and I hope that America comes together as as a community and helps each other, and this too shall pass. One thing my mother did say this weekend, which is really true, the way that she said it, she said, Leslie, it really doesn't matter what's going on, none of us are going to make it out alive. So while we're here, let's enjoy life. So again, shout out, leave a comment if you want me to shout out a YouTube channel, a friend of yours. It has to be like a link that someone can get to. If they're on YouTube, oh sorry, if they're on Instagram, please put their Instagram down below. So when I shout out, people can go to them, and I'll be sharing different people's Instagram and YouTube like every day or in every video. So I thank you for watching. Again, I really appreciate you so much. And I hope we can start, building more relationships. Thank you, friends. Take care.